Um, First of all, can you explain to us what your role is as it's the président directeur, or it's the président or the président directeur général?
It's a president. It's a president, but it's a chairman and CEO. And so, well, my role is the one of the chairman and CEO. It's well, I chair our board, and I'm the general manager, which means I try to orient and manage most things within our company. And our company is a little special because it encompasses both the Grand Palais and also other activities in French Museum, like we manage shops in 44 French museums, including Le Louvre, Orsay, Fontainebleau, Versailles, the brand new Fondation Vuitton, Musée Picasso. So about half of our turnover consists of the sales we do in these shops. There's a work at the Grand Palais where we have exhibition, but also where we have fair, where we have events, fashion shows, and also we have other combination of activities like we have guides in museums, we make photos for the French museums, we operate websites for the French museums. So apart from operating the Grand Palais, our work is to provide services for French museums, both public or private.
That's a huge job. And what's the total turnover of
The total
all those
turnover is
activities?
120 million euros, and our staff is about 1,000 people.
And amongst all those things, do you have a particular objective?
Well, our objective, I think since we have so many activities, it's a bit difficult to point out one single objective because running shops is not exactly the same thing as producing an exhibition like Cluzel right now or Velasquez next spring. So if there was one single overall objective, is of course to enhance the experience of what museums or exhibition provide by providing the best services. Today people are no longer eager to see a single painting or even a series of masterpieces. They want to be provided with the necessary information. They want to be provided with the links between these works of art and what it means for society in general. So I think the purpose of cultural institutions like ours now is not only to provide the best exhibitions, but also, I would say, the best artistic experience. In the French museums, most of them are independent legal institution. Louvre, Versailles, Orsay, each one is a public company. But we provide services for these museums, and the only place that we only operate is the Grand Palais.
Oh, I see. Okay. So and it's mostly the services that you do offer them. It's mostly the stores or shops.
The stores of guides for helping tourists or visitors to understand the collections and visit the places.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's interesting. And in fact, you've had a career as one would call it an haut fonctionnaire in France, and but you came to the cultural area. Was it probably first when you became the director of the Opéra de Paris?
Yes, it was. How could I say? I had no idea that I would ever work in the cultural sector, but I happened to be at the French Treasury and in 1992, there was a kind of management crisis at the Paris Opera, and at that time, the thought of me to become general manager of Paris Opera, because they knew I was a sound manager with cultural leanings, and that was the reason I was appointed, and ever since I've stayed in the cultural or media sector, because most of my career, as a matter of fact, has been mostly in the media with radio.
During these past years in the culture, and whilst you played various roles in culture, what do you think your biggest achievements been?
Probably to do the necessary changes in the public radio, so that French public radio keeps its number of listeners in the evolution of media and the interference of the digital world. I think it has been an important achievement to me. Right now, trying to also, I would say, reinvent, but try to attract to our exhibitions, to museum exhibitions, new publics, and not only the people who traditionally have been going to museum and exhibition, but really new publics. This is also a big challenge for me, please.
And presumably you have a growing number of foreigners.
Foreign visitors go to see a monument, they go to see a permanent collection, but the percentage of foreign visitors in temporary exhibitions is relatively small, like around 10%.
That's very interesting, thank you very much. So if you could just give us a few ideas of, or a few tips to our subscribers of a nice a restaurant that you could suggest, something that's typically French and perhaps not too touristy. Be much appreciated.
Very unfortunately, my favorite restaurant is already very well known, at least by not maybe so much European but American tourists. It's called Des Gars dans la Cuisine, and it's in Rue Vieille du Temple in Le Marais. It's a restaurant of about 20 tables, and it's nice cuisine, and as they would say in America, it's gay owned and operated, but straight friendly.
And maybe one or two others?
I also like, I mostly go in the restaurants of my area. Another one which I like very much is Le Bulldog, which is in Rue Rambuteau. And of course we have a restaurant at the Grand Palais, which is called the Mini Palais, which I strongly recommend, of course. But I'm not joking. It's a nice, it's nice cuisine, and in a very nice setting. So you have the view of the Grand Palais and the view of the Petit Palais on the other side, and there's a nice colonnade, and it's both very attractive, both in winter or in summer or spring, where you can go in the loggia and enjoy a terrace restaurant in an historical place, which is not so frequent.
And how about, can you give us some ideas of either a monument in Paris or a place you choose to wander?
Well, I think, which seems a bit unusual, but especially for a manager of a French public cultural institution, I have no especially favorite monuments in Paris. One of the big charms of Paris are the sidewalks coffee. I remember there was an advertisement a few years ago, which was made by, I suppose, the Paris Tourism Office, and said you were having two persons having a drink of coffee on a sidewalk coffee with a chestnut tree, and they said €1. Can you get something better for less. And I think it's absolutely true. I see no other city in the world where you can enjoy the atmosphere that you get in a Paris street. But to be more specific, I like on Quai Voltaire, on the Seine, on the left bank, you have the Monet de Paris and you have the Académie Française, which were two very classical buildings, both built at the time of early end of Louis XIII and early Louis XIV, you know, at the really peak, in my opinion, of French architecture. Very classical monument, very beautiful, and the Seine and the Louvre on the other side. And this is all this gathering of both the architecture, the atmosphere. Yes, when I was thinking of Paris, what is very special of Paris is when you think of it, it is one of the few cities where really the river is the essential heart of the city.